Is it possible to install caster wheels on a sit-stand desk? Let's find out. Welcome to the Land of House channel. I'm Seth. I recently installed this Vevo Sit Stand Desk and it has been fantastic. I'm using it to do my product reviews on top of, and I'm very happy with it. But it would be nice if it could roll around. And so I went to my local hardware store and picked up some of these caster wheels. These hold, I think, 88 pounds a piece, and I've got the 4 of them. And so I want to attach this to the bottom of my sit-stand desk. This desk has little feet on it that I removed and took to the hardware store and realized that it needed an 8mm bolt. So it's kind of a specialty item. You may have to search in the special bins for that because it's not your typical threads. So I got 4 of those, and I also got several of these 3/4 inch screws and then some caster wheels that will allow me to put this up into my table. Now, so the plan is to measure out the legs, cut a strip of plywood, drill a hole, put one of these bolts through it, and that will attach into the threads that are already on the bottom of this desk. And then I can simply take my caster wheels and put this on that plywood, and it should work out pretty good. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, first thing I want to do here is flip this over so that I can access the feet. I put some foam down to hopefully keep this from getting scratched, and I've also got to be mindful of that control. I'm going to remove all 4 of these feet. Now, as far as cutting my plywood goes, this leg here is 23.5 by 2 3/4. My piece of scrap plywood wound up being 23 inches, so that's awfully convenient. So I need to cut 2 3/4 inch strips out of the side. I'm going to use my speed square, place this on the side, go to my 2 3/4 inch mark right here, and just slide this down, and that will put a mark at that level to make this pretty easy to get cut. Now that I have my 3/4 inch plywood cut, it's time to get the holes drilled in here. Now this might be a little bit tricky, but I'm going to hold my plywood where I want it to be, and then I should be able to mark the middle of the hole with my pencil. That one. Okay, got that one. All right, so there and there. And now I should be able to use my speed square on that marking and transfer it across the long side here. So let me see what I can do. There we go. And now I need to find the middle point, which is 1 3/8 inches. I've got a paddle bit or a spade bit. I'm going to sink this hole in just a little bit to hide the head of that bolt. That should be plenty right there. Do that on both sides. And finish this hole on out. Now my drill bits are extremely dull from going through some aluminum, but let's see what we can do here. Yeah, that's so dull. Now I realized that my bolts were actually going to be too long, so I have to add a 1/2 inch piece of plywood under this. And so I just want to transfer those holes once again through the bottom of this to make sure it is lined up properly. For the sake of alignment, I'm just going to use a much bigger bit to get this hole done here. Now it's time to get these 2 pieces of plywood put onto my sit-stand desk. So I'm going to line those up. Now I've got my bolts with a washer on there to help keep that tight and in place. Go ahead and start these on both sides. Now this isn't really meant to be cinched down tight, so I'm just going to use my wrench here to get it snug. Now it's time for the caster wheels. I'm going to place this right on the edge and make sure it's got an even space all the way around. And I've got these little 3/4 inch screws that I'm going to use to get this attached to the plywood. Now that I have the first one on, it's going to be very similar for the next one. Just going to place that evenly here on the edge and put more of those 3/4 inch screws in there. I'm getting those mostly tight with the drill and then coming back to make sure it's snug with a manual screwdriver. And there we have it, caster wheels on all 4 corners of the legs. So you can see here that they are able to swivel around with no problem, and there is even a lock on there that would allow this to lock down into place. So now it's time to pull this table back up and roll it around. Okay, I'm going to be putting this back up on its right side, but I want to make sure I don't damage this control board over here, so move that to the edge of my foam underneath and see if I can't get this to flip up easily. Haha, check that out. Now we have a rolling sit-stand desk. Now I haven't sanded down my floor yet, but as you can see, these wheels are plenty big enough to get over my plywood gaps that I have. I can roll this around in any direction I want, spin it around, change things up. Let's check out these brakes here. Let me go ahead and click a couple of those down. There we go, there's that one. There we go. Yeah, so with just 2 of them, it is going to be good enough locked down. I can do all 4 if I wanted to. Yep, nice. I am very pleased with how that's turning out. Well, there you go. If I want to get this desk out of the way, I can just roll it over here. And whenever I'm ready to use it, I can just put it back to wherever I need it. And there you go. Definitely happy to have this on wheels. All right, very cool. Well, now I can spin this around so that I have the controls on the front, and I can get this thing wherever I want it and roll it around and be able to show you products here. And then whenever I need to get it out of the way, just scoot it to the side. So very cool. So one of the keys or the tricks to doing this little project was finding the correct bolt. So I went to the hardware store with one of the legs and just matched up that bolt, and I actually first had to find a nut that fit that leg, and then I used that nut to then find the bolt that was going on here. So 8mm is an unusual size here in America, but you can find that in most of your hardware stores. Other than that, it was just a matter of lining up those holes, and hopefully you have success with that. If for some reason you get off center, you can whittle those out some or just use a bigger bit and make sure your washer covers your plywood well enough to hold this in place. But anyway, there you go. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm Seth with Land to House, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Whee! This thing is so tall. Who would use this at this height anyway? It's like almost 5 foot.